All right, well, welcome to our webinar today on how you can grow, scale, and exit your business.
And so that's a part of this. So franchising can seem like a great idea, but that is definitely a part that gets a little more difficult when you're looking at doing this model. At the same time, you lose control. Those franchisees don't do it like you would do it, right? So coming off the Dunkin' Donuts, imagine they didn't make the donuts like all the people that they corporately ship them in. Imagine Starbucks, where the coffee is all made the same when they ship it all in. Now, I know that's a publicly traded company, but they're still corporate type stores.
Well, and the other thing is that, like I said, 95% of franchises never get past 100 locations. And the truth is, if you want to make real money, you really need to get it past 100. Mm-hmm. So that's another part. And when we're talking about franchises, Subway, McDonald's, Jiffy Lube, all those franchises, people that buy those are usually investors, and they have to have quite a bit of capital for them to invest
to do the bid on everything you had to do corporately to make that amount of money. And inversely is they don't necessarily know how to do it, and you have to have a great model and a great system and build all of that out and hold them to doing that ball. Because if you charge more than $600 in like the first 90 days or something like that, then it becomes to it. So there's the whole criteria on it. And then if you let them use the same name as you, right? So if they use the same name as you and it's a separate LLC, you're still a franchise, right? You still qualify, but there's three main rules. And the third one is control. So they got the name and then you have control.
Business systems.
Yeah. So if you're controlling their systems and how they're doing it, I know I said with franchise you have less control, but I'm talking about control over the systems of what they operate, how they function, and what they do. If you have control over those, that makes you a franchise. So in order to not be a franchise, you have to not be one of those three.
Yeah. And so it's name, business system / control, or fee. But here's the thing. We've seen people who've tried to do, and we'll get right into the licensing model, but if you're operating on the licensing model and you're using all three of the components,
right,
then you're an illegal franchise.
That's right.
And good luck to you.
Yeah. So you got to do those. And this is why we end up doing the coaching with people, because you need to figure out which of these models is right for your business, because it's different for every business. But we've done licensing, we've done corporate, and we've done the franchise.
Yeah. We've done it all. And I will say, I do love the corporate model because of the control. I do like to have control. But here's the thing. There's so many downsides to the corporate model. And
I thought you were going to say the control.
No, the corporate model, because every new location, you have to do the build out. You have to negotiate the lease terms. You have to find the location. You have to build everything out. You have the risk of the lease for the duration of the time. You have to staff it. You have to control the employees. So yes, the private model, the private chain or corporate model, is it worthwhile? Yes. And the only way that I say that I would go back to doing that model is if the cash flow was insane.
Absolutely. It's if you're making $20,000 a location plus, then you can go do it.
I think higher.
If it takes you $100,000,
$50,000.
If it takes $100,000 to open location number 2 and you're making $20,000 a month, you had to give $5,000 of profit up to go get the next location going. And then it's not going to start with $20,000. It's going to be doing $20,000. And again, it depends on the business, but it's not going to make that right away. So then you're just always trading it. And you start looking at it, you're always trading the chips in. This is what happens all the way through this whole course. This is what stops people. This is what we help people navigate the risk of that, right? So you're making that risk. You need someone to bounce the idea off, somebody that's done it. How do I decide when to come out of production and start running my location?
Let's talk about inconsistency of service.
Why do you look at me when you say inconsistency? I feel attacked.
Let's talk about that as one of the downsides.
Wait, what is it? Inconsistency
of service when you're opening up a franchise. Because if you are extremely anal retentive and you like things like perfect, and you have to realize...
Then a franchise is not for you. It's not. I mean, think about when you go to McDonald's. Sometimes they forget your order. Well, they're pretty consistent. If you go to McDonald's, almost everybody forgets your order, right? And so at the same time, you can run it like a Chick-fil-A where they only let the managers hand out food because they don't want that inconsistency. So anytime there's an inconsistency in anything, you want to put the leader in charge, give them the process system to track it, and allow them to effectively run that. However, as you start running that through any type of scale, you're going to have a percentage of inconsistencies. And because we all think differently, we all operate differently. What's important to you may be not as important to me. So they deliver a different level or a different product of service.
And if you think about like some of the franchises, think about like all the sandwich places like Subway, Jersey Mike's, Firehouse Subs. the reason, like, anyone can make a sandwich.
I'm having a Subway tonight.
Perfect. You know, it's not hard to kind of make that a consistent experience because they're right there in front of you. And it's
until
like,
they forget to heat up the chicken. Yeah, but then they forget to heat up the chicken. They don't add enough sauce. They don't add enough.
Yeah, but
they made the
overall,
scoopers.
it's a scalable
So then they
model.
made the scooper where the scooper is the right size. So you always got the same. So every time you have a problem in consistency, that's what you fix on the corporate level. So when you go franchise, then you have that problem solved. That's what someone's buying, is the level of the scooper.
So we had a company, they actually were a licensing model and they were killing it. And we actually took that licensing company, turned it from licensing to corporate because the numbers were so big that they needed
Well, that's
to
what I was
switch.
going into earlier. As I said, if the location makes $20,000 a month and you now franchise it out, you're allowing them the opportunity to make $18,000. So you as the franchisee can make $2,000. If you license it, they're paying you $1,000 a month for a system that makes $20,000. It works inversely. You find a place that's licensing and they're charging $1,000 on a model that makes $20,000. Go buy the licensing company and then start running them corporately. Because whatever it costs to open up a new location is your cost to then make $20,000 a month, if that's the numbers, whatever they are. That's what.
So with multiples of selling, which model do you like the best for multiples? I think it's software.
Yeah, well, see, and I was going to go with that with licensing. Remember, we just talked really badly about the licensing model, because if you can make so much money, why are you charge someone $1,000 so they can make $20,000? Now, I will take that the other way, and I think you're going to agree with this, is because the recurring revenue, because you know what that agreement is, it's consistent, it's there, you know it makes it so simple. See, licensing is what the simple people do, and I don't mean that as like a negative in a really bad way. I mean it in a way that simple scales, and there's nothing wrong with that, because when you have one product and you charge this fee, that guy has the one name, you have one software, whatever it is, you pay it and they pay licensing, and now it's provide this one thing. There's no multiple levels to it. Now that's also the downside, because you can't necessarily vertically integrate any other revenues to that business, so you can only grow it. The other downside to that is it also hits a scaling point when it hits, and it starts to come down, right? Because you have a churn rate in that one, you're going to see more than any other model.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to doing this, to growing a business than we can, just say on this podcast.
Well, like it says behind me, stop paying the hustle tax. You don't have to work harder just to get your business to scale. So you can go to finchfreedom.com, go to canzel.com if you're thinking about exiting your business. We'd love to work with you, and it's been a pleasure working with you today. I know you love this topic, and I do too.
Right.
Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.